day, ladies and gents. Welcome to our YouTube channel, and today we are going to be looking at text file handling, and this is a grade 11 topic, but it can also help you even if you are in matric, especially with those questions that require you to use text files together with your arrays. So let us get right into it. Okay, so we are going to be doing question number 3 here. It says a shopping list must be generated based on current supplies. The stock list is stored in a text file called stock list. The layout of the text file is as follows: item, hashtag current stock, unit stock, and so on. Okay, so this is an example of a text file, how it looks like. Now the question is saying based on the current stock levels of the a shopping list must be generated. An item must be purchased if the current supply is less than the minimum amount required. All the amounts must be rounded off to the nearest whole number, as one can't buy a portion of an item. If the unit is in kilograms or bottles, then the unit must be displayed, or else no unit must be displayed. The shopping list must be displayed including the heading. This list must also be stored to a text file called shopping list, which means we are going to create, or we are going to write to a new text file there. Display a message indicating that the file was written. Okay, this is an example of output. So this is our shopping list. So we want to write a code that is going to generate something that looks exactly like this. So now let us get into the program. Now this is my program in which I'm going to write my code here. So I'm going to double click on this button, get shopping list, and it's going to take me straight to where I'm supposed to write my code. So now, as usual, ladies and gents, whenever you are working with the text file, the first thing is to make sure that you declare the text file variable. So let us just do just that. So var my file, and I'm going to give it a type of a text file. But now you see the question said we are going to create another text file as well, that is called shopping list.txt, which means obviously I'm going to need two text file variables here, since I'm going to create another text file as well. So I'm going to call the second one my file2, and they are both type of a text file. Okay, now another thing, whenever you are working with text file, it is always a good practice to make sure you check if your text file exists or not, so that can prevent your program from crashing. So I'm going to do just that. So I'm going to use an if statement. So I'm going to say if file exists, and which file do I want to check here? I want to check the stock list. The stock list.txt. I want to check if this text file exists or not. So now, if the text file does not exist, which means if this text file does not exist, then I want to display a message that tells me that that particular text file is not there. Okay, so I'm going to say, oh, show message file does not exist. Okay, so I'm going to check my text file. If my text file is not there, then I'm going to display some sort of a message that tells me that the text file does not exist, and I just want to exit that procedure. Don't want to do anything. But now if the text file exists, then I want to go to my step number 2, where I assign my text file to my text file variable. So we use the assign file procedure to assign our text file to our text file variable. So I'm going to take my file, which is my text file variable, and I'm going to assign the stock list .txt. So I want to assign this text file called stock list .txt. So in other words, after this line of code, my text file is now stored in my text file variable here. So whenever I want to read from a text file, I can easily call my file here and I'll get all the information from my text file in that variable. Then the next step is to reset your text file, and I'm going to say reset my file. Now what this one is doing, it's putting a cursor on the first record in your text file. Remember, we want to read in a text from a text file here, and we need to read starting from the first record. So in other words, we are putting our cursor on the first record. Okay, so now let me just display read on my rich edit here. I just want to display my heading there, since they said this heading shopping list must also be displayed. So I think before I display anything on my text file, let me just display that heading. So I'm going to say read output dot lines dot add. What do I want to add there? I want to add the heading shopping list. Okay, now let me just close that. Okay, that is fine there. Okay, now the next step now is to loop through our text file so that we can read and be able to extract some details from our text file. So we are going to use a while loop in that case. So it's while not end of file. While I'm not at the end of this text file, I want to read from it. Okay, so now while not end of file, which file my file do? Okay, now within this conditional loop, this is where I'm going to write everything that I want to do with those details that is in that text file. Okay, so now we want firstly to read the information from the text file and store it in a string variable. So let me declare a string variable here. I'm going to call it maybe S1 line, and this is a string variable. So I'm going to read from my text file into my string variable, and to do that I use a procedure called read line. So we are reading from which text file? We are reading from my file into S1 line. Just like that. So I'm reading everything that is into my file, and I'm putting it into S1 line. Now all my details in my text file can now find them in that particular string variable. But remember, ladies and gents, here what we want to do is to be able to extract some details there, so that we can display something that looks like this. So if I look at this shopping list, I can see that I think that is it's the number of items that needs to be ordered, and the description and so forth. So I need to extract all those details from my text file, and I've been told here that my text file is separated by a hashtag, which means it's an item, then the hash, then the current stock, then the hashtag again, then the unit of measure, and so forth. So we call that hashtag or that separator a delimiter. So that is what is separating our details in our text file. So now I want to extract the item first. I want to extract the item first. And once I extract it, obviously, I will need to store it in a certain variable. So I'm going to need another variable there. I'm going to declare, let me call it S item. Okay, so now after reading my text file, I'm going to say, okay, now I want to copy that item, or I want to extract that item rather, and store it into my S item variable. But I cannot just do that because I will not know where should I copy to. So which means I must try and find a way in which I can copy only that item and store it in that particular variable. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to find the position of this delimiter so that I can copy my item up to the position of the delimiter so that I can store that in my variable. So now let's find the position of that, but I will need a variable obviously. So I'm going to call it iHash, and this is an integer. Okay, so I'm going to say iPose iHash. I'm going to find the position of the hash. Now iHash is going to be the position of the hashtag. I want to find the position of the hashtag in what? In S1 line. Okay, this is what I want to do. So now this will check and try to find the position of my hashtag in S1 line and store it in my iHash variable. Now I can now copy. Now I can say S item is equals to the copy. Where do I want to copy from? I want to copy from S1 line, starting from position 1 up to the position of the iHash -1. I'm going to remove that hashtag. Okay, so now after this line of code, I would have copied my first item. For in this case it's salt. I'll have copied it into my S item variable here. So it means now after I've copied my S item, I no longer need it, so I can now delete from S1 line, starting from position 1 up to the position of my iHash there. Okay, so this is the first part of the code, ladies and gents, and for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm going to just cut it here. Then I will see you guys in the next video as we proceed with the same question.